Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's match preview show, and I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Tranmere fan, co-host of the Football League Lowdown. You will see him on there on a regular basis every Monday evening with Gills fan scoops. That is Michael Robinson. I'll put his Twitter handle in the description at the bottom of the video on YouTube. Michael, first of all, appreciate you coming on, taking the time out your evening. I know you're going to be streaming at 7 o'clock, so we're going to get this sorted beforehand. Been a tricky start for Tranmere, I think it's fair to say. 2 wins, 2 games in the league without a victory, without a point, but then did manage to get over the line by hook or by crook in the week, beating Accrington on penalties in the League Cup.
It's an interesting start because had we beat Stevenage and lost to Mansfield, no one would have been bothered. A 1-0 away defeat to Mansfield, you know, you're not gonna have a meltdown over that. But I think the manner of the opening day defeat really shocked a few people, and there is a lot of context around it. Though we are missing several key players who signed in the window that either weren't ready or are now injured, unfortunately. So that has been the tale of it. The defence on the first day of the season, I don't think we'll ever play together again. We know Tom Davis, who was brilliant for us last year. Jordan Turnbull, we just signed, wasn't able to play. And Neil Byrne played alongside a guy called Kyle Jameson, who I'm not a fan of. We've got Oldham. And yeah, a fair few fans aren't a fan. A fair few fans have backed him, but yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan. Kieran Morris was probably our biggest signing he's re-signing because he's a brilliant player. And his first or second pre-season game out for a couple of months. You know, it's just been one bit of bad luck after another. You know, even Charlie Jolly, he's out for a long term as well, striker. Yeah,
stuff you can't legislate for, can you? You can train systems and formations and all that. If people are picking up injuries, there's not a lot you can do about it as a coach or as a fan base, unfortunately. But yeah, you talked about Stevenage, obviously, our ex-manager in charge. And they've now done it three times on the bounce, I think, haven't they? Goals in the last 5 minutes to win all 3 of their games so far. So it's a habit that they've got into.
To be fair, the first half they played really well. We then come out the second half, equalised. They should have been 3-4-0 up in the first half. It looked more even the second half, and then they scored. And then for the last 15 minutes, they just didn't play football. They just boosted the corner flag, rolled around, anything to break the game up. Which, to be fair, if you're 2-1 away from home, you're not going to complain if your team are doing it either.
That's the thing, isn't it? We all moan about it when we see opposition teams do it. But if you're, like you say, if your side's winning the game and you do it, then it's good tactics to wind down the clock, isn't it? But it is frustrating watching it as an opposition fan. And
he had a guy at the back, can't quite remember his name, but he was from Oldham, and he won every single header. That's the one. I mean, I didn't expect great things from him, but he won. I think if you look at the stats, he won every single aerial duel.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, like you just said about your signing coming in from Oldham, and you look at Oldham last season, obviously got relegated out of the Football League into the National League. So you're thinking you're taking a chance with anyone that's being signed from that football club. But I suppose they have to have had better players in a bunch of, a team that got relegated. And we do know that there are extenuating circumstances as to why they're in such a situation. But yeah, I suppose it's when you're watching the player that you signed and you're not over keen, and then you watch someone who's gone elsewhere and has an absolute worldie against you, it can become frustrating. You spoke about Mansfield, obviously they're a good side, got to the playoff final last season. Performance in that game?
It was better. We conceded again towards the end of the game through a set piece, which not surprising whatsoever. Again, defence isn't quite there yet and things, but I think it's a slightly better performance, but yeah, I mean, again, if you're going to go to Mansfield and lose 1-0 to a goal 20 minutes from time, I don't think you'd be complaining too much because they are a good side. They've made some really good signings. They had some good signings there from last year. I wouldn't necessarily have the meltdown that our fans have had over the Mansfield game. Could probably understand the Stevenage one because, again, last season we had the best home league record in all the divisions. It was on away form.
I was looking back trying to do a bit of digging, and I think it was like the last 7 or 8 he was unbeaten at home. So obviously it was a bit of a shock to the system, I can imagine, first up and getting beat by a team that did struggle last season. And I know they fought well, and they're obviously playing for a new manager, but still.
That's it. They have made some really good signings, Stevenage. I mean, I remember speaking to a Stevenage fan and saying, you picked up some really good players. I wouldn't be surprised if you're in and around the playoffs, depending on if Steve Evans has an implosion and falls out with somebody halfway through the season.
That'll happen if he's not backed, but I'd imagine that Stevenage will back him more financially than we did. So I'd imagine it'd be all right this season. He tends to go in, doesn't he? Like most modern day footballers, not just to seem like we're having a pop at Steve Evans, but manager cycles are 2 years at best these days, really, aren't they? You don't really see too many that go beyond that. But I think I had them 5th in my pre-season video.
Yeah.
But then to counter that from your point of view, I had Mansfield to win the league. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of research this summer, obviously coming down into League Two, so there was all new teams for me. But I think their squad was good, their manager's good, they all know the level, and I think it's more just tweaking that squad and just adding bits to it rather than an overhaul, which a lot of clubs have to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if they did win the league, Mansfield, to be honest. Because I have to say it's no great shakes that we've lost 1-0 away from home, but with what happened in the first game, you can see it continued on, and thankfully. Interesting game against Accrington. Mickey Mellon. It was 2-0 at half time to Accrington, and we played the same formation, 3-5-2. It's what we're trying to do, play 3-5-2. Unfortunately, because of the defensive issues and lack of play, you got to play 3 centre backs. You've only got 1. Doesn't really work. So we're 2-0 down. He said to them at half time. I think you can get the interview up. He says so basically, at Tranmere, you're expected to put the effort in. For years they've been underdogs, not be expected to win anything, but what the fans expect is you to work hard. And they come out second half, change of formation, funnily enough, back to 4-4-2. Looked much better second half, and it was 12-11 on penalties.
I did see it when we had one like that last season in the first round. I think we went to Crawley and won 11-10. I think everyone took a penalty.
Yeah, everyone did take a penalty. The keeper scored, funnily enough, both of the keepers scored. And our new striker.
No, I think ours was the keepers were the next 2, and that's where it stopped, because I think our keeper saved the penultimate one. Obviously, didn't fancy himself to take one. Who's ironically is now at Stevenage and played in that in their League Cup game in the week.
One of our new signings, Mabongo, who he came on for the last few minutes. He actually penenkered his penalty in the penalty shootout. So you think that's a bit on
social media earlier today?
That's slightly confidence people who just come on the pitch.
That was about 8 all or something.
Yeah.
But fair play to the lad. You're going to trust yourself, do it like that. That's fair play. But like you say, if it goes wrong, like Conor Gallagher, we saw in pre-season, you look
daft. I mean, it's one of the worst ones you can do. Or one of those stop penalties and just pass it back to the goalkeeper. You just look stupid.
Yeah, I'm still at the old school and pick a spot and
just smash it into the top corner.
Exactly. You've spoken about performances, and I did write down a variation of 5-3-2/3-5-2, I assume, without the ball and with the ball for the first 3 games. But you've mentioned you did switch it up and go to a back 4 for the second half in the cup game, which is interesting to see, because our manager Neil Harris matched up Wimbledon in the week in the league game and played a back 3 with Tranmere in mind. He's come out and said that in his post-match interview. So it'd be interesting now to see whether he matches you up or whether you then go and surprise us and go to a 4 and we end up being the ones with a back 3. But
it's interesting. People are calling us to go back to back 4 because we do have 2 very good fullbacks, Cogley and Bristow. Bristow we brought in this year, and Cogley is playing in division. He's a championship right back all day long. But obviously he wants to play them wing backs. It hasn't worked. He's changed it, and they've got bombing. Interesting. Playing as wing backs, they didn't get as forward as much as they did as fullbacks, which is bizarre. But they started bombing on second half and things like that. So he could change it to a 4-4-2. We might see Jordan Turnbull play again. But he's been missing after coming in. And we might see a bit more of Mabongo, which would be good to see, because we're struggling scoring goals. We do have Kane Hemmings, of course, who is, again, he's a Rolls Royce striker in this division. You get him the ball, he'll score goals.
Yeah, so I suppose it's a case of not panicking just yet. We are only 180 minutes into the league campaign, and there's plenty of teams that are probably more fancied than us and you that have failed to pick up good points. Stockport and Bradford, namely. Your transfer window, you've mentioned a couple. I've noted a couple down that I thought looked like good additions. I wrote down John Nolan and Jordan Turnbull.
Jordan Turnbull, I think, is a really good addition. John Nolan is an interesting one. He's come off the back of a lot of injuries. So we're a bit,
that was going to be so. That would be my only concern. So it's a case of if you can get him fit.
Yeah. So he hasn't started a game yet for us. He's only came on the last few minutes of games, which doesn't give you much of a chance to look at him, to be honest. Reece McAleer looks like a signing, though. He looks like a really good player. He was on loan in, I think it was the Scottish Championship last year. but he does look like a quality player. And then we get a couple of, we could still do with a couple of wingers, to be honest, and maybe another striker. And I know we are still on the hunt for a few players. So once everyone's back and fit, because I counted it was 7 injuries for the first game of the season.
So what is the feeling around the fan base? Because obviously you've just missed out the last couple of seasons. Is the aim top 7?
Well,
top 3?
The aim expected is playoffs minimum. We failed last year. It was kind of miserable because we just. I think Mellon got much of the blame the way he set up away from home. He set up away from home to get a point and maybe nick a win. And the problem was we conceded in the last minute of a lot of games where we looked comfortable. We should have gone on and won. Just like we went to Walsall and conceded, and they hadn't won a game in something like 20 games, and we conceded a 95th minute winner when they were there for the taking. Kind of things like that. And it frustrated fans because at home we were unreal.
Yeah,
we only lost 3 or 4 at home all season. We won most of the games, and we did lose a couple. There was a game we had 9 men at home, and we conceded a 95th minute equaliser, which again, if we'd have won that game, we'd have been in the playoffs. And the season before was kind of Keith Hill versus the fans. We did not take to Keith Hill at all. And I think one of the issues was he started blaming the fans straight away, even though we were in the ground because of COVID. So he's obviously been on social media looking and blaming fans for things that he's found on Twitter.
Strange, because he was a good manager for Rochdale. I thought he was probably one of the better lower league managers a few years ago. But like anything, everyone has their time, and the game catches up with them eventually. He
seems to be he's one of those managers like John Coleman. He is good at a club.
Yeah.
But he's never done it anywhere else. And anywhere else he's gone, it hasn't worked. So again, he went to school.
He big move to Barnsley, I think it was a few years ago, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dropped right back down.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. He was good at Rochdale the first time, and he's gone elsewhere, and it hasn't worked. And he doesn't come across very well. He rubs a lot of people up the wrong way.
I remember when he was Dale manager and they were playing at our place and they'd had a couple sent off. The keeper would come out, punch the centre forward. It's a straight red. They had another one gone for 2 cynical fouls. And then he come out in his interview afterwards and said he was contemplating having 2 more sent off so the game could be abandoned. And I just thought, just control your players. Stop trying to make excuses. They're blatant red cards. Sometimes you just can't excuse it. I get managers backing their players in public, but when it's there in black and white and it's all for all to see on social media and the telly, just come out and hold your hands up. But
no, and the fact that he'd been Bolton manager as well, he just didn't go down well at all.
Yeah, I suppose that's not going to help as well.
No, we don't want players. There was a rumour that we might be getting Nathan Delfonso, and the first question was, but he played for Bolton.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help.
No, it'd be interesting. I'm not getting up for this one, unfortunately. I've got stuff to do with the family. But yeah, I think it'd be a decent game. Like I say, we were very poor at Wimbledon. We were very flat. And we'd been good in pre-season. We played Portsmouth, lost 2-1 at home, and Crystal Palace. They were the 2 home friendlies. And we lost 3-2 to Palace. And they had 6-7 starting that would be pushing for a place in the Premier League team because they had to do this split squad because of COVID vaccine. So their starting 11 had the likes of Mark Gurhey and Riedeveld and Schlupp and Eze and Doucouré, Zaha, Benteke all started. And we stood off them for 20 minutes and we couldn't get near them. But then when we got in their face second half, we were really good and got back level and then only conceded a daft penalty. And then everything that we'd done well in pre-season, we just didn't do at Platter Lane on the opening day. We were slow, we were lethargic. It was almost like Neil Harris had said he wanted us to play a different way. So we just kept it for the sake of it and didn't move anywhere up the pitch.
Yeah, well, that's what Mickey Mellon said. He wants to play this more attacking, attractive football. And he said if we can see goals because we're playing more open and more you just have to live with it. And it hasn't materialised at all. So everyone's going, where's this attractive, attacking football? We scored 1 goal all season,
and you're still losing games.
And we're still losing games. So
understand it
if you lose 4-3, away from home at Mansfield and you give it a real go, okay, we'll give you that one, but meekly 1-0. Again, I say it wasn't the end of the world result, but we didn't actually really threaten much in the attacking third, which is again kind of a blowback to last season where away from home we just didn't look attacking at all.
Yeah, because I was looking at your possession stats for the 3 games, and I think the lowest was 44, and other than that, it's been fairly even. So you've had plenty of the ball.
Yeah, well, that's funny because we normally, if you look at most games, we have more of the ball than they do. So it usually hovers between 55 and 60% of the ball. We just don't do anything with it. It just goes from the back. It goes into the midfield, the back, across the back, and then somebody just lumps up the pitch.
That was literally our performance opening day. We went from left back to centre back, out to the right back, came back inside, and then we allowed them to set up into their shape. And then when we tried to play through them, they either pinched it and turned us round, or we then got desperate and tried to hit the front man. And there was no one within 15 yards of him.
Yeah, and you're lumping up to Kane Henning. So when he's good striker, but he's not exactly 6 foot. You know,
and you have to give people a chance, regardless of how good they are. If they're up against a back three and it's them on their own, they're fighting a losing battle. So it's tough. So
it seemed like more of the same the first couple of games, and then again changed formations against Accrington and looked pretty good.
Interesting to see how you set up then, and us, because I was sort of toying with the idea: do we go with a back three this week, or do we stick with the 11 that beat Rochdale? And it was probably the most comfortable 1-0 I've watched in a long time.
Yeah.
But what are we thinking then, from your point of view, if you was Mickey Mellon, or what you think Mickey Mellon will go with come 3 o'clock Saturday? What do you think the 11 will be?
He's very stubborn, so he'll go 3-5-2. Fortunately, he'll play basically the same back 5. I think Turnbull might be in for Jameson, so back 5. I think it'd be Cogley on the right, Turnbull, Byrne, and Luke Robinson, and then left back Bristow in the midfield. He'll have McAleer. McAleer. I don't know if O'Connor's going to be fit, so it might be Chris Merry in the midfield. O'Connor came off limping a bit in midweek there. He might play Hawkes again as kind of an attacking midfielder, and then go with Nevitt and Kane Hemmings up top. If Nevitt said he wasn't there on Tuesday night either, so I'd like to see him Mabongo, but with the injuries we've got, and he's only just back into the squad there. We only played 15 minutes the other night. I doubt he's going to start.
Yeah, we changed it up. I think we made 5 in the week, but that was literally the only 5 we could make, because we've only got 20 at the moment, and we've had 2 out since opening day. So Stuart O'Keefe, the club captain, I'm not sure if he's going to be fit. I think Neil Harris said today he's hopeful for Saturday, but I can't see him starting. Dom Jeffries has been missing since coming off at half time on the opening day, and he said hopefully for Walsall, which is the following Saturday, so he's not going to be involved. I think personally Neil will stick with the same 11 that comfortably beat Rochdale in the league last week, because that's the bread and butter, and that's what we're all striving for as clubs, is to be good in the league. The cup's a bonus. So I think it'll be Glenn Morris in goal, Will Wright, Max Emar, Elkan Baggott and Ryan Law as a back 4. It'll be Ollie Lee sitting deeper with Sean Williams, Ben Reeves in the 10, and then we'll have Jordan Green and Scott Cashkit providing pace from the sides, and it'll be Mika Mandron up top, and then hopefully we can get Stuart O'Keefe on the bench. Yeah. But it'll probably be completely different now I've said that.
We'll both go. We'll go 4-4-2. You go 3-5-2.
That'll be exactly it. Yeah, this is what'll happen now. Been really good, Michael. Really enjoyed that. Some really good insight for the Gills fans, because, like I say, we're still learning. I'm still learning. I had to do a lot more research this summer. We're dropping down into League Two, so it was all new clubs for me, which has been really good. The last question before I let you go, and it's always the worst one, is who's going to be happy come 5 p.m? What's your score prediction?
Neither of us. It'll be 1-1. It'll either be 0-0 or 1-1. I'd like to say, is that what you got? There you go.
I'll take a point, like I said, because if we can draw with you, and then we've got back-to-back home games against Harrogate Tuesday and Walsall, so then if you take 4 points from then, suddenly we've got 8 points from the first 15 available. It's a decent start. Plus the cup game as well. After the disappointment of the opening day, it would represent a decent sort of settling in period, because a lot of teams are still trying to settle in with new signings and learning how to play. So I don't think, I know you said about Mickey Mellon setting up away from home to win points, and I know the saying is if you draw your away games and win your home games, you're going to be there and thereabouts. But obviously you have to try and win games away from home as well. But I'd be more than happy with a point. I'm not taking too much notice.
As long as you say you tick over, as a newly relegated team, you tick over a few points. Obviously you have problems in the background with Scally. The danger is you double dip and go down twice, which has happened to a lot of teams. It happened to us there not so long back. But I think you've more than got enough, capable enough to.
Well, he's stepped away, hasn't he? I don't know if you've seen the statement.
Yeah, I've seen that. It was interesting, because obviously talking to Scoops a lot, fans getting frustrated with Scally and not going to games and things like that. So Is it new owners have taken over, or
No,
he's just
he still basically owns the house, but he's put someone in charge, a gentleman called Paul Fisher, who was at the club about 20 years ago when we rebuilt the ground. So he was a former season ticket holder.
Yeah.
He's been active on Twitter, which I'm never sure with chairman. I think because I mean it seems to work with Dara McCantley, Andy Holt, but I'm not sure it would have worked if it was Paul Scally.
Well, our vice chairman is obviously we got Nicola and Mark Palios, and our vice chairman Nicola. She's very active on Twitter, but if things have gone badly, the fans just tear into her.
Yeah, which is not fair because ultimately it's the players on the pitch as well. But it becomes an easy target, doesn't it, on social media? And we all know about that. That's the worst side of things like Twitter. But no, it's been an encouraging week. Back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets. Fans seem positive. The new guys come in and saying the right things. I think we're still waiting for a proper sort of interview so we can get an idea of what his plans are. But cheap tickets for the cup game, which is really good, £10, and under 14s go free. So positive few days. Fingers crossed we don't ruin it when we come up to your place on Saturday. But
but again, if you lost at Prenton Park, it's in League Two. It's not the end of the. You lose by the odd goal in 3 at Prenton Park. It's not meltdown because we generally we're stronger home with a big fan base. If it gets behind the team, we generally do win our home games.
Yeah, that's it. And it's always about trying to retain that sense of perspective. Like we wasn't getting relegated first day of the season, and we weren't winning the league because we beat Rochdale. But
we see ourselves as a League One club all day long.
I think we do as well because we was in there for a decade before relegation in April. So
yeah, we got demoted. We didn't get relegated.
You did, yeah, but we don't talk about that.
We don't.
Michael, it's been a pleasure, mate. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Gills fans, like I say, I will put Michael's details in the description at the bottom of the video. You can't see me at the moment because of the sun, which a lot of you might say is a good thing. I also put details of the Football League Lowdown. Go and check them out every Monday night. They do a show on Discord, which is really, really good fun. You will recognise Scoops being a Gills fan. Lots of football chat and banter as well. Not all of it good. Not going Saturday, unfortunately. Got other commitments. So my next appearance will be Monday, looking back at this game once I've watched the full review on iFollow. We'll be back Tuesday for a match day live at home to Harrogate. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. And until next time, up the Gills.